also have the public sector undertaking NSIL, New Space India Limited, converting whatever we did in the space sector into production of materials or production of rockets, satellites, and also convert into the business opportunity. While we work on these entities in the Department of Space, we also have the domains, which goes from building the rockets, we call them space transportation system, building the space infrastructure called the satellite building. We have the human spaceflight program, we have the Earth observation and applications program, and also the capacity building, creating capability in industries, creating capability among academic institutions, researchers. So we work in various domains, working with many stakeholders. Industries, academic institutions is one of the strengths that we have today. But all of us are really excited to see a launch. I don't know how many of you had real fortune to look at a launch of a rocket. It is really very heartwarming to see, or I don't know whether the right word it is like that. The thunderous sound that comes and hits your chest when you hear a launch, and also the beautiful sight of an ascending rocket that goes to the sky to put a satellite in space. It's always a wonderful observation to have you at the Satish Dhawan Space Center. I use this opportunity to invite you. Today, Satish Dhawan Space Center is not closed for you. It is actually open to each one of you. We have a huge gallery. 10,000 people can at a time sit and watch one of the launch that is taking place. So you are most welcome, children especially, those who are listening to me. Please find an opportunity to look at the announcements of launch that is coming up and register for coming and looking at some of these launches. I can tell you that it will raise your spirits very high as much as the rocket soars to the sky. But over the years, we have been launching rockets, we have been placing satellites in orbit. You look at the tally of what we have done is really astonishing. For a country like us, I think when we started this whole program in the 1960s, we were launching small rockets to space while other nations were putting men on the moon. So you know the gap that existed between us and the other nations. And this gap that existed, we have bridged substantially over the last so many years, putting us as a leading spacefaring nation today, having the ability to build our own rockets, build our own satellites, and launch it from our own soil. It's not a mean achievement for a nation like India. And we have done not only did so many launches, like hundreds of launches and almost hundreds of satellites that we have put in space, we not only did that, we also launched almost 400 plus satellites of other nations using our rockets from India, almost 34 countries. We did a lot of research activities in creating new technologies and innovations in space sector. I think all of these are showing up results now in the form of assets that we have created in space ecosystem. They are in the form of spacecrafts that are there. We have 50 plus size spacecrafts in orbit today. So we have this many of the satellites now, along with other thousands of satellites up there. But then it's not just the satellite that we have. We have produced connect to the stakeholders who are actually using this the satellites in a big way. The communication. I think Akashvani and Doordarshan are the users of the satellites in the form of television broadcasting, DTA services. We have connectivity of internet. We have also connectivity to various stakeholders who use our networks. And we also connect with the many departments in the government of India, the meteorology, the land use, the weather, oceanography, fisheries, the Airport Authority of India, disaster management, and many other services that we deliver through space, the backbone of this. We also have the NAVIC ecosystem, which is providing the position, navigation, timing services called the NAVIC, and of course the science missions of Chandrayaan, Aditya L1. We provide scientific data to the researchers who are interested in space domain to work in the cutting edge of this research. It's not only the spacecraft that we have. The most important strength of a nation in space is the ability to launch it from their own country. Rockets are very strategic assets for any nation. And we started this journey of building launch vehicles when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was the project director of SLV-3. And we all know the story of SLV-3 development and also the ASLV. I think they are no longer operational. Today we have the operational rockets, the PSLV, GSLV, the launch vehicle Mark III, and the new entrant, the small one, the small satellite launch vehicle. All of them are operational today, and PSLV has done 50 plus successful launches today. A very strong workhorse launcher who has put all those satellites that I mentioned some time back. The GSLV was developed using the cryogenic technology, and the indigenous LVM-3 is the heavy booster that launched the Chandrayaan launcher satellites in the recent times. And it's going to be the one which will evolve to finally put human beings to space from India. The small launcher, the SSLV, is the new entrant I told about. That's the goal of building small satellite launch vehicle. I can tell you, rocket building is not a small thing. It's a very complex process, and we took almost 60 years to learn the trick. And we have the knowledge of doing it today in Department of Space and Isro. It's an institutional knowledge which is created over generations. And holding this knowledge, nurturing this knowledge, and keeping it preserved to do future activities in space is very important for us. And this is why we nurture them. We connect with the many other stakeholders like the educational institutions and researchers to preserve this knowledge so that we can work on advanced technologies in the future. And many domains have skill sets have developed in our institutions. And it's very important to preserve us because it's a strategic asset for every nation. Very important topic which I would like to talk about is the Gaganyaan program, the human spaceflight program. I think all of you are excited to hear about it the recent times, and everybody talks about when are you really sending the first Indian to space. I think equally like you, I am also excited to look at the possibility. But all of you know, Gaganyaan program has its own challenges. Building a rocket and launching satellites has its own risks. That anytime there can be a failure of a mishap happening in the rocket and the satellite falling into the sea. But when a human being is flying up there in a rocket, we need to make extreme care to ensure that the mission is very successful and there are no flaws in it. And if at all it happens, that we can even save the crew very effectively. So there are complex systems that comes into Gaganyaan program, and we are developing each one of them through systematic step-by-step process of uncrewed missions, robotic missions, leading to the human spaceflight mission. I can tell you that this coming years we are going to get ready for the first uncrewed mission, encompassing all those developments that we have been doing for the last 5-6 years of time. Many technologies have been developed, and I can tell you, my people, that these technologies are not available from others to us. It needs to be groomed and created within our knowledge and capability in India, using our own industries, our own knowledges. We have been working on it, and so I can tell you it's a huge challenge. And it's an invitation for young people to come and work in this sector in the future, as government has announced an expansion of this program, building space stations and going to moon, which I will talk about a little later. Also, we did a recent mission of the crew escape system, where the test vehicle, a liquid propellant-based test vehicle, took the entire crew and the crew escape system, and we intentionally aborted it. And after the aborting, the crew module has to come out of it, open its parachutes and land properly, safely in the waters where our ships went and collected it. I think the whole of this chain of events that you just see are the crux of the safety that we are bringing into the rocket systems, and this is very crucial. And this is for the very first time we are doing it in India, and we need to make it perfect after so many tests. And I can tell you that we need to have the systematic test programs to ensure that there are no flaws or there are no design-related issues while we do the final human splice mission, maybe possibly by 2026.